Okay, I think I see some new names and new faces here. So just a quick reminder what we're doing. We get together once a day, literally for 15 minutes. The practice is actually less than that, but the time we spend is just 15 minutes. And the idea is to intentionally stimulate parts of our nervous system that constitute positivity. So it could be mindfulness, attention training, gratitude, um, and the idea is pretty simple. We are what we repeatedly do. So if we familiarize ourselves with those states of being, it just becomes easier as we then bump into life and have our struggles. So just keep that in mind. The neurologic term for this is self-directed positive neuroplasticity. So self-directed because we're choosing what we're doing, positive because it really stimulates the desired networks. And then neuroplasticity is really just a fancy term for learning. So the brain does structurally and functionally as it changes. And we do different topics every day. So Tuesdays is attention training Tuesdays. So we're going to do a short meditation on focusing on trying to intentionally stimulate where our attention goes. And there's this saying in Buddhism, that thoughts are like boats on a river, and the key to being mindful is to just allow the boats on the river to just sort of find their flow. And so I found this image here, and I thought it was humorous. This is oftentimes what my boats in the river look like in my brain. It's pretty hectic. Right? It can be pretty overwhelming, and you're bumping into things, and it's just loud and confusing. And so then what? And the idea is to remember that no matter how busy and hectic things are, there's always a choice that we have. And the hard part is remembering that we have that choice to be able to focus our attention on an object of our choosing. So even in the midst of this chaos, I could find some sense of equanimity, or in the sense of I'm sure there's all kinds of smells and noises and all kinds of things happening there. Even within that, there is a place that if we train it and practice it, we can find that quiet and that stillness even amidst the chaos. And so a lot of that, in my experiences, has to do with what are we focusing on. So like in this picture, our tendency if we were driving the car would be to focus on the big rocks in the middle of the road, and that's normal. But really, the smart move here is to look at the gap on the left side of the screen, right? That's where we want the car to go. And so, can we intentionally work on finding that space or that quiet gap? Because that's ultimately what's going to be useful for us. So, where our energy flows is where our attention goes. So, I thought let's spend a few minutes today just practicing focusing our attention and then noticing how that and affects our energy in this moment. So start by closing your eyes. I like to close my eyes because sight is definitely my predominant sense. I'm a very visual person. And so by removing external visual stimuli, it makes it just a little bit easier for me to actually practice what's called or focus on what's called interoception. So the experience of what's going on inside the body in this moment. So notice the body's breathing. Notice there's nothing you need to do in order to make the body breathe, and literally take a step back and just watch. Simply bear witness to the body breathing. And oftentimes when we're really busy, this kind of stillness or slowing down can feel a little bit unsettling or disconcerting. It's like, I don't know what to do with this. And so you'll probably notice lots of mental activity, lots of thoughts, memories, images. That's normal. Just like breath is just happening on its own, the body breathing, the brain is thinking, it's remembering, it's just saying, it's just what it does. See if you can shift your relationship to the thoughts, sensation of breath. See if you can take a step back from it all and just observe it happening. It all feels very personal. It actually isn't. It's just happening. The same with sounds. Just noticing how there's nothing that you're doing to create the sounds. They're just happening out there. We can bear witness to them. In that same way that we bear witness to sounds happening, we can also bear witness to breath happening and thoughts happening. Of course, it raises this interesting question of who or what is bearing witness to all of that. No sounds are happening. I know breath is happening. And how do I know that? What part of me knows that? And see if you can notice the space that exists between the sounds, the thoughts, the breath, and the part of you that is bearing witness to those events happening. There's a lot of space between the witnesser and the events. It can sometimes take a while to sort of settle down enough to be able to notice that space that's there. The cool thing is that being able to experience that spaciousness, or the sounds, the thoughts, the part of us that's directing our attention to those things. So, for example, I'm guessing none of you have been thinking about the Eiffel Tower until I just mentioned it right now. And then there's probably images or ideas about the Eiffel Tower that enter your consciousness. And that's just because I, for a moment, hijacked attention to focus on the Eiffel Tower. So wherever our attention goes is what manifests as our reality. And getting better or more acquainted with what it's like to direct attention where we want it to be is powerful. Opens up a kind of freedom. Energy flows wherever our attention goes. See if you can bring attention back to the experience of breath for the last 60 seconds or so. Paying full attention and bearing witness to the body breathing, noticing breath in the belly, chest, shoulders, throat, nostrils. Take a deep, intentional in breath through the nose, long, slow exhale through the mouth. Again, full focus and attention on the sensation of breath leaving the body. And hold the exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Another deep inhale through the nose, the mouth, filling the belly and the chest and the shoulders. And hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go ahead, open your eyes, come on back to the session. And notice how as soon as you open your eyes, there's a whole new set of information and stimuli that enter consciousness. So see if in the background you can still maintain that sense of attention around. You're still breathing now, it's still happening. So while you're seeing, can you still notice breath coming and going? So I hope that was helpful. Good little break for the day. See you tomorrow at noon, hopefully. Take care, everyone.